Close your eyes for a second. Think about the version of yourself you thought you would be by now. The goals, the money, the life, the person. Now open them and look at where you actually are. For most people watching this, there's a gap. A gap between who you are and who you thought you would be. And every single day, that gap whispers something to you. It tells you you're behind. It tells you you're late. It tells you that everyone else figured it out before you did. And now it's too late for you. I want to talk to you about that voice today. Because that voice isn't the truth. That voice is a weapon. And something along the way someone handed it to you. And you aimed it at yourself. And you've been pulling the trigger every morning since. Today we are putting that weapon down. Now, the lie they sold you. Let me tell you how this started. When you were a kid, someone handed you a map. Not literally, but a mental map. Graduate by this age, get a job by this age, figure it out by this age, be successful, be stable, be arrived by this age. And you took that map. You didn't question it. You were a child. You trusted the people who gave it to you. So you carried it. You carried it through school, through the 20s. Some of you are carrying it right now into your 30s, your 40s, looking down at that map. Then, looking up at your life and thinking, I'm lost. I took a wrong turn somewhere. I'm behind. Here's what I need you to understand. That map, it was never made for you. It was never made for the average. It was designed to produce a specific kind of person. Compliant, predictable, on schedule, a person who fits into a system, a cog in a machine. And here you are, still watching, still hungry, still not fitting into the system perfectly. You think that's a failure? No. That's a sign. The people who changed the world, the ones who built empires, create movements, leave a mark that outlasts them. They almost never followed the map. They were the ones who got lost, who went off-road, who looked around at some point and thought, this doesn't feel right, and had the courage or the desperation to try something different, being off the map. Doesn't mean you are lost. It means you might be the first person to go somewhere worth going. Now, what silence does to you? Here's something nobody talks about. There's a period in every great person's story that looks like nothing from the outside. No wins, no announcements, no highlight reel, just silence. And in that silence, most people fall apart. Because we live in a world that rewards visibility, that rewards noise. Every day you scroll and you see someone celebrating, someone announcing, someone winning. And if you have nothing to announce, it starts to feel like you have nothing. Like you are nothing. But I want you to think about a diamond. A diamond doesn't become a diamond in the open air. No. It becomes a diamond under pressure. In the dark. Over time. Crushing. Heat. Suffocating weight. Total isolation. And then it emerges as the hardest, most valuable thing on earth. Your silence is your pressure chamber. The years you feel like nothing is happening, those are the years you are being compressed into something rare. The struggle you are going through that nobody sees, nobody claps for, and nobody celebrates. That is the surge. That is the fire. You don't get to skip that part. Nobody does. Every person you admire has a chapter they don't talk about. A season where they were broken, invisible, unsure, a time when they almost quit and didn't. And it was that season that made them who they are. Your silence is not your failure. Your silence is your foundation being poured. Don't walk off the construction site just because you can't see the building yet. Now, the cost of comparison. Let's talk about the thing that actually kills you. Not your circumstances, not your past, not your resources. Comparison. Every time you look at someone else's life and measure yours against it, you are handing them power over you. You are saying your timeline is the standard. Your wins are the benchmark. Your life is the test I have to pass. And that is the most dangerous lie you can believe. Because you are not living their life. You don't know their sacrifices. You don't know their demons. You don't know what it costs them to be where they are. And you don't know when it's costing them to stay there. There, you are comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. And you are losing on purpose. Think about this. A cheetah and a whale. Who's faster? Depends on where you are. In the ocean, a cheetah jogs. In the savannah, a whale is helpless. But you'd never look at a whale struggling on land and say, well, that cheetah is faster. So the whale failed. That would be insane. But that is actually exactly what you are doing when you compare your path to someone else's. You're a different creature, built for a different terrain, designed for a different kind of dominance. Stop measuring yourself in the ocean. Find your savannah. And when you do, when you are finally running in the environment you were built for, nobody will be able to touch you. Not because you're better than them, but because you're finally being you. Fully and completely without apology. Now, the ones who almost quit. I want to tell you something real. The most dangerous moment in any great story isn't the beginning. It's not even the hardest moment. The most dangerous moment is the one right before a breakthrough. Because that's when everything inside you says stop. It's not working. It was never going to work. You were foolish to try. That voice is the loudest right before the door opens. Think about it. Think about every person who ever built something worth remembering. Every artist, every entrepreneur, every athlete who became a legend. Almost every single one of them has a story about the moment they almost walked away. The moment they almost let it die. Edison didn't stop at attempt 999. He stopped at 10,000. And even then, he didn't say he failed 9999 times. He said he found 9,999 ways that didn't work. Colonel Sanders was rejected by over 1,000 restaurants before someone said yes to his chicken recipe. He was 62 years old. J.K. Rowling was a broke single mother, rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter changed the world. These aren't motivation fairy tales. These are documented human experience of people who made the choice over and over again to not let their story end at almost. The question isn't whether you are trying to face the moment where it feels impossible. You will. Maybe you are in it right now. The question is, what are you going to do when you get there? Because the ones who quit right before the breakthrough, nobody ever hears their name. They go back to ordinary they spend the rest of their lives wondering. But the ones who pushed through, the ones who choose one more day, one more attempt, one more refusal to quit, they become the story. They become the story someone else tells to get through their hardest night. You have the chance to be that story. Don't waste it. Now, the rare ones. Not everyone who goes through the fire becomes gold. I have to say that. Because I think too often we pretend that suffering automatically leads to strength. It doesn't. Pressure doesn't automatically make diamonds. It also crushes things that aren't built to survive it. What separates is the ones who come out forged from the ones who come out broken. Isn't talent, isn't luck. It's a decision. A quiet, daily, almost invisible decision to keep going. To keep believing in something you can't fully see it. To keep building in the dark. Most people need external validations to keep moving. They need people to clap before they take the next step. They need someone to believe in them before they believe in themselves. They need proof before they commit. But the rare ones, and I mean genuinely rare, the top fraction of people who ever lived a life worth living, they move without applause. They build when nobody is watching. They stay disciplined when nobody would know if they slipped. They keep the standards even when the standards is only known to them. That's not willpower, that's identity. When you know who you are at the deepest level, when your work ethic, your standards, your commitment aren't the strategy you're trying, but an expression of who you actually are, then external pressure can't break you. Because the things it's trying to break isn't a behavior, it's a bone. Becoming the kind of person whose identity can't be negotiated become rare. Not because it impresses anyone, but because you made a choice about what kind of story your life is going to tell. And you refused to let the world rewrite. The permission you've been waiting for. I know that some of you are waiting for permission. Permission to finally try, permission to take the things seriously that you've been treating like a hobby because you're scared to fail at. Something you actually care about. Permission to start over. Permission to walk away from the path that's been making you miserable. Permission to want more. Permission to believe, really believe. Not just say you believe that your life can be different. I'm going to tell you something and I need you to hear it. Nobody is coming. There is no moment where the universe taps you on the shoulder and says, now is your time. Now you have permission. That moment doesn't exist. And the people waiting for it will wait forever. The permission you are looking for, you have to give it to yourself. Right now, today, in the exact circumstances you are in, with every doubt you currently have, every resource you don't have, every reason it might not work, you give yourself permission anyway. Because the truth is, this, you are the author of the story. Not your past, not the economy, not the people who doubt you, not years that felt wasted. You. And the story isn't over. The story is never over until you put the pen down. So pick it up. Now, you were never behind. Say that again. Mean it. You were never behind. You were being built. Every hard year, every slow reason, every time you felt invisible, overlooked, unqualified, too late. That was construction, bro. That was foundation. That was the kind of depth being created in you that you cannot manufacture any other way. The people who had it easy early, they are fragile. They have never been tested. They don't know what they are made of because they have never had to find out. But you know, you've been through something, maybe multiple somethings, and here you are still watching, still hungry, still not done. That's not weakness. That's not weakness. That's a rare kind of strength that most people will never develop. So stop apologizing for your timing. Stop apologizing for your path. Stop looking sideways at other people's progress and forgetting that you are on your own journey, moving towards something that only you can build, in a way that only you can build it. The world doesn't need another copy of someone who already exists. It needs you, the real one, the one that got forged in the silence, in the struggle, in the years nobody clocked. Go build, go become, go be the thing that took this long because it needed to be real. You were never behind. You were just being made. Now, if you feel like you're in this situation, subscribe to AramTalks. I'm here, I'm with you, I'm like you. Real talk, no filter. See you in the next one.